Episode 42. We are back in the Bahamas. We're talking Baha Mar, which consists of three hotel properties, the SLS, the Grand Hyatt, and the Rosewood. Super excited to talk about it. I just went back on 4th of July. Jamie and I decided it was worth kind of revisiting to give some updates on what's going on in 2025. It was actually our first ever episode of the show, so we probably weren't in our best form yet like we are now. Jamie,
I was gonna say we're
yeah.
definitely pros now.
Yeah, we're travel pros. We're not even travel bros. What is new in the world for you? Anything exciting to talk about before we dig in?
I mean, this is the longest I think I've not been to Baha Mar since it opened. I am at a full year right now, so I need to get back sooner than later. So excited to talk about it. Every time I talk about Baha Mar or book it for somebody, I get really excited because I think you and I both love this property. It's got something I feel like it's got something for everybody. So looking forward to chatting about it again.
I agree. And maybe I think an interesting point to make before we dig into the episode, I've got a few things laid out. Baha Mar on its face can look very expensive. You know, you can just go into the blind. I think the alternative is there are a lot of really good promos that pop up for these properties. I mean, Rosewood is just always going to be
Yeah.
obscenely expensive. If you have a budget, just cross Rosewood right off your list. Baha Mar and Grand Hyatt kind of go back and forth on who's more expensive, what kind of room you want and such. But what can people do, I guess, to save on these rooms? Like, are there any promos out right now? Like, when do you see the cycle of some of these promos? If someone's wanting to stay next spring break, let's say, when should they be really trying to execute?
So I think a couple different strategies here, right? So first thing I'll talk about is just kind of the benefits if you book with us. I'll hit that in the beginning because this is going to apply pretty much whenever or whatever property you want to go to. We have a great relationship with Baha Mar, and we're able to offer some additional benefits at each property. In general, SLS, Grand Hyatt, or Rosewood, you're going to get breakfast for two daily. You're going to get a property credit. Typically, that's going to be $100. Rosewood's $125. You're going to get a welcome amenity of some sort that we can arrange for you. Grand Hyatt does a $50 beverage credit as their welcome amenity. And then you also get upgrade, early check-in, late checkout based on availability at each of them. And one of the, hopefully you guys think this after you listen to this episode, one of the big values is we're Baha Mar experts, right? So you get access to us to answer questions, give you suggestions. If something pops up, help you try to resolve any issues while you're there or on the back end. So I think I think there's a lot of value in that knowledge that we have of the property. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, I've been there a dozen times. You've been there quite a few times. It can be overwhelming. It's a big property. There's a lot to do, a lot of restaurants. So having someone that can really guide you through the process, I think is valuable.
Perfect. And if someone was booking today, Jamie, what kind of promos are out there like at the moment? As like
Yeah.
a
So I was going to say, hey, to answer
sample.
your actual question. So I just priced actually all three properties yesterday. I don't know the exact dates these promos go through. But current promotions, and I was pricing January, so they at least go out through January. I saw at SLS, there's a fourth night free, and that made a lot of rooms price out really well. You were actually able to get a one-bedroom suite there for slightly more than a standard ocean view room at Grand Hyatt. So it's some really good pricing at SLS right now. Rosewood has a fifth night free promo, still very expensive. I was pricing January, and I want to say 5 nights was still like $7,000 or something like that. So if you don't, like you said, if you don't have a budget, or Rosewood is amazing, but if you're looking to stay even semi on budget, you get a lot for your money at either the Hyatt or SLS.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. Like we went for 4th of July, so we'll talk about some of the 4th of July stuff in this episode as well. But I would consider 4th of July non-peak season in the Bahamas. Technically, it's inside the hurricane window. It's really hot outside, which didn't bother me. But we landed. We actually arrived on 4th of July, and then stayed till the 8th on Hyatt fourth night free. I mean, we were like, I think trying to calculate with resort fee and tax and everything all in. Let's just call it. I think our base room rate was $299, and then plus, you basically almost double that between taxes, resort fee, and all that. Right, so $1,600 for 4 nights. And then I was like, well, I mean, if it's that good of a deal, maybe we should just pop over to the Rosewood. And it was like Rosewood was like $1,600 a night, and I was like, okay, well, about that.
I was going to say Rosewood consistently. It is very rare you're going to see it for anywhere under $1,000. That's kind of my
Yeah,
that's like the best I've seen is like high 900s or 1,000, and that's like catching the perfect 4-night promo on the perfect low season is about the best you're gonna do.
got it. Well, real quick before we move on, just so I'm so if you stay at Baha Mar, well, if you stay at Baha Mar, stay at the Grand Hyatt, you're looking at breakfast at Regatta, which is the
Yep.
buffet, correct?
SLS is Cleo.
Oh, Cleo.
And
Okay.
yeah, and with Cleo, this is going to be seasonal. So when it's higher season, they do a buffet. If it's more like an off season, low occupancy, they do a la carte.
Okay. And where does Rosewood do breakfast? In Cafe
Commonwealth
Balud? Oh, Commonwealth?
is in
Okay.
Commonwealth. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I have not eaten there, so I can't speak to that.
I haven't either. Have they done it always there?
I believe so.
Okay. This was something I kind of picked up from the Facebook group. There seems to be a lot of stress from people about arriving to the hotel. And I'm here to tell you, number one, it's really simple. And number two, I did some price out comparisons for you. I did three options. I went ahead and priced out what a cab cost, what booking Baha Mar direct cost, and then I picked first choice limo because I know me and you both like using
Yep.
them as an example. Now, if you have four people and four luggage, give or take, you've got a lot more affordable options. One of the problems you're going to run into, even with the cabs, is while the cab is the cheapest on this list, if you have more than four people, you're going to quickly not fit in a cab, obviously.
Yep.
So, most cab estimates I found, I've never personally taken a cab, so I'm going off what people are saying, but you're looking at essentially $40 to $45.
Yeah.
Now, there's always a cab line at Nassau. And one thing I do like about NASA Airport that I'll give them a lot of credit for is it's nothing like these Mexico airports that you go to, and there's like people trying to get you in fake cabs everywhere,
Yep.
all this stuff. If you are nervous about that, I will tell you, I think there is some value in booking with Baha Mar Direct because they actually have essentially, it's like a storefront. You walk out of the customs, and there's literally like a Baha Mar sign building, there's staff in there. And if you've done a car service, you literally just kind of walk up to them, say, "Hey, I booked a car service." I've done it direct 2 or 3 times I've gone, and you never wait more than about, call it 5 minutes. I
Yep.
think they just put you in a queue as the next. I think they just have people constantly running back and forth. Baha Mar Direct will offer you 3 options. You've got a large SUV, which they list at 4 adults, 4 luggage at $87. So you're double the cab, but generally I found most of those are gonna be like Suburbans.
Yep.
There's a lot of Suburbans on the island or Tahoes, which it says 4 adults, but so the large luxury SUVs, you go up to 119, but those mostly seem to be Escalades, which how about this? When we called the luxury SUV last, we just got a Suburban. So even though it's saying 4 adults, 4 luggage, I think you can easily get
An extra
6
one or
in
two in
them, but
there.
that's just how they list it. I mean, I don't know if I had 6 people, if I would book the luxury SUV being
Yeah,
that
I wouldn't be
confident,
rolling the
but
dice on arrival.
just my note. So I actually think both of those are pretty well priced. I think then Baha Mar really loses the plot when you try and rent their luxury private van. They want 237, which is crazy because I've personally done the luxury van from First Choice Limo, and I'll just say it's 147. So you've got like almost a
Is that the
$100
Sprinter?
premium. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a tip out there, right? I know we talked about
Okay.
first choice. Request the limo interior and not the bus interior. Like if you're
Uh,
booking, because I made the mistake of just booking one time. And so obviously you probably had the limo interior where it's set up like a really
mhm.
nice limo. When I went with my family and like my parents and my sister and stuff for Christmas, I was all excited. I'm like, yeah, we booked the limo. When we got in and it was just rows of seats,
Oh man.
like a bus. And I'm like, still really nice, but that was not what I wanted. So I think it holds more, but it's not as nice.
As a point of contention, the limo interior does come with a stripper pole, so if that is something you
The
would
kids
not
love
wish,
it. The kids love it.
I agree. But I'm just if that is something you don't necessarily wish to have in your ride from the or to the airport, that is maybe you can go request the bus
It's a
interior.
dance pole.
I also really wish because my child and her friends played on that dance
Dance pole.
pole a lot. Wish we had a disinfectant wipe to wipe it down before they danced on it. So maybe, if you're a mom that's very well prepared, bring a few extra wipes for the dance pole. getting back into this, so there's a standard van, which is like this kind of smaller SUV that's 5 packs from First Choice Limo. It's at 64, so you're halfway between direct and a taxi. They offer a Lincoln MKT, which is the only like branded car they have for 87, but I don't know why you would pay for that. It seems really silly. If you have
Yeah.
a lot of people, the best choice is like they'll send like a Ford church van, like the newer ones, like a Ford Transit church van. I did that on our last trip because we had 9 of us and it was 92 bucks. So to move 9 people for $10 a head is fantastic. And then their premium SUV rate is basically the same exact price as Baha Mars. And then they have a luxury premium, which is $5 more. And I think that difference goes from Suburban to Escalade there. If you have a lot of luggage, they also offer a luggage van for
I
$135.
was just going to say that because we thought we were going to need that last time we went because we did the party bus and there was like 20 something of us. And I'm like, there's no way they're getting all the luggage in here. So we thought we were going to need to. And they're like, no, we'll fit it. I'm like, okay. So
Oh,
the luggage van, if you came with like a full party bus full of people, you probably would need the luggage van, but they were able to get all our stuff in. So
wow. Well, I mean, give them credit for that. So I think those are your transportation options. First choice limo, technically, they'll have an app where you can track the driver. As long as you have cell service, I think using First Choice Limo is a great option. Every time I land, they'll text you and say, this is your driver. I'm 5 minutes out. We've communicated. They'll wait for you, which it's a real roll of the dice. Like I've had times where we've been stuck in Nassau for an hour trying to get into the country. And then like one time I beat the driver basically. Like he
yeah, like
pulled
5 minutes
in as
late.
I
Yeah.
walked out. Yeah. And so, but they're very communicative. We've had clients use them. We've used them both. No problems. I've also done Baha Mar Direct a few times. Just I kind of forgot to the last minute, and they're very easy to just you
Yeah.
can go into the app or get online and book it really quick. No problems. I haven't. Have you tried a taxi?
No, so I've never done it. So I will say this. I've taken a taxi back to the airport many times.
Okay.
Um, I would say of the dozen times I've been, I've 100% always booked car service to the hotel. And I would say
Hmm.
probably 9 out of the 12 times I have taken a cab from Baha Mar back. Don't need to schedule it. So you don't have to worry about like, when do you want to leave? You just walk down. They always have vans down there. And we've done where we've had 6 or 8 people get a van. It's like 40 bucks, 45 bucks, something like that. Never had an issue. So I've done the taxi back to the airport many times.
Okay.
I just like to have it prearranged on arrival. So I'm not thinking about it. I just know I got somebody waiting for me. And I think one thing to add kind of with all these options, and it's not new anymore. This has probably changed like 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years maybe. Baha Mar will not stop at the grocery store or liquor store if you want, where cab or first choice, you can, if you want to stop and grab snacks, drinks, whatever, they'll stop. Baha Mar, a couple years in, stopped doing that. And they supposedly have like the company they use has GPS tracking, so they can't really deviate from their route at all,
Jeez. Okay. Well, that's good
is
to
what I
know.
was told when I asked.
Man, just cracking the whip over there.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, I'll throw you a couple extra bucks. Can we stop?" And he's like, "I can't. Like they track us."
It's kind of ridiculous. If
It's
you
good
end
and
up
bad.
doing, yeah, if you end up doing that too, I think another good mention you'll see is Instagopher is a great choice, which
Yep.
part of me would argue I have never actually done it, but when I pulled it up when I was there because people suggested it in the Facebook group, so I want to kind of familiarize myself with it. I don't think there's much of a price premium
Uh-uh.
on, because sometimes I feel like here I know the prices of stuff I buy at the store and I pull it up in Instacart and I'm like, oh my, it's 30% more plus delivery fee plus tip plus
Yeah.
and. It seemed pretty reasonable, which I'm gonna tell you, even at a 10, let's say you're ordering 100%, $100 of water, soda, and some snacks just to get you through the week. I would rather pay the 10% premium to get it delivered via Instagopher than losing 30 minutes of your vacation.
See, I love going to the grocery store when I go.
I do
I enjoy the experience, if
I
that
do
makes
too.
sense.
I actually go to the grocery store everywhere I go, but, now that I've been
Yeah,
3
yeah.
or
I
4
get.
times,
Yep.
okay. But I'm also assuming most people don't appreciate spending their
Yes,
vacation time
I
at a
think most
grocery
people
store.
do not.
So I'm just saying, if you don't, if you want the Baja Mar car service, you feel comfortable. I don't know why I cannot talk today. I'm like stumbling on my words all day. Instagopher is an option. it basically just picks everything up from one of those stores, and I think even Instagopher is even, like, a good tip if you're trying to save some money on food and you wanna eat out and everything. Personally, for me, vacation is not the time to penny pinch, but that's just me, if that's your thing, and I can even get into that from here. So I went through my bill, and I pulled out all of my food expenses from every day. Now, I kinda operated on no budget. It's me, my wife, my daughter, who was 5 at the time, in July. We did Pizza Lab, Schwangba, Marcus, and Katsuya were our dinners, and then our flight didn't leave till 5 o'clock on that last day, so we did lunch at Cafe Madeline that day as well. Averaged it all out, and this includes so breakfast was free because we were booked on a Prive rate. So this is lunch, dinner, and snacks. We averaged out 190 a day.
It's not bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
Not at all.
There was no penny pinching. My daughter was getting ice cream every day. I got some Diet Cokes at Baja Bay. We got some fries here and there.
I was gonna say, I think the one caveat, and I think it's a budget buster at Baha Mar, is if you're a big drinker, right? I think that's where
Yes.
you can kill a budget real quick.
Yes. Which, there is duty free at the airport. You are getting a $50 credit
Yep.
from St. Preve, so that's something to think about. We had a couple drinks, but I think they all fell within that. But I really like if there's somewhere I'm going to drink at Baha Mar is the cigar lounge. I
It's a
think
cool
that's a
spot.
great tip. And then I think the other place to drink would be the jazz club. You got any deets on the jazz club?
Yeah, so I am kind of bummed that I have not been here yet since it opened. So it opened earlier this year, John Baptiste Jazz Club. So if you've been to Baha Mar before, they took a big chunk of like the west side of the casino. Um, the jazz club used to kind of be tucked off in the corner of the west side of the casino. Now they took it right into the middle. It looks really, really nice. I don't want to make too much stuff up, but I think, earlier in the evening, kids and stuff are allowed in, but at a certain time, I don't know if it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, it goes to 18 plus. So it's adults only at a certain time period. The decor looks really nice. It just looks like a really cool spot. The music has always been fun at Baha Mar, so I'm hoping kind of similar vibe. All the pictures and videos I've seen, it looks like a really good time. So I'm looking forward to getting back to check that out.
Yeah, and it opens every night at 6. On the weekends, closes at 2 a.m. During the week, it is 1 a.m. Now, if you've been to Baha Mar, this is essentially a premium version of what used to be right at the entrance of the West Tower,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
That they used to have a little bar there. Now, I'm assuming they're going to improve what's going on there, Jamie. But like right now, it's just all the chairs from the bar. The
We're,
bar
ta-
has
we're,
been
we're talking
removed.
about the old spot, right?
Yeah, the old spot where they used to perform. But it's right when you walk in the
Yes.
doors, right? And so they've left all the chairs there. They gutted out all of the bar, and then randomly during breakfast, they had uh, like a
It's like a bagel
heating
pop up or something, right?
yeah, like a heating oven and coffee, and they are selling it was like to-go breakfast, which they do need more breakfast options, I think, to keep crowds down in places. I mean, the Starbucks line is one of the
Yeah.
uglier things you can do at Baha Mar, but I just was like, it's literally like a taped piece of paper. There's
Yeah.
no like real official sign or anything. So I'm assuming at some point they're going to put some money into.
It's a good space. Like, that's a
Yeah,
great location.
it's a great location. I mean, I wish they would move one of the Starbucks there. Even I think would be
Yep.
great.
Yeah, with some seating and everything, that'd be a really good
Mhm.
idea.
And there is a jazz club menu online if you want to look. And there's one other thing they've added to this new style too is you can actually get food in there now.
That's nice.
So there is like small plates, desserts. I mean, it's not a lot. I mean, for example, like looking through here, there's Big Eye tuna tacos for $25, crispy nori, soy lime aioli, and wasabi. There's a jambalaya croquette for 20, shrimp Cajun rice. There's a dip baby dip, which is like
Okay.
hummus, lebna, garlic, eggplant for 22. You can do oysters, half dozen for $42. You can do caviar for 130 if you're
Okay.
feeling frisky over there. Lobster rolls, banana cream pie. So it is cool. It's another place you can eat as well. And then I want to stress with the jazz club, and I think everywhere on property, and this is something we talked about in our other episode, make reservations.
Yeah. I I I hate it, but I agree.
I just see sometimes in some of the Facebook groups and people are like, I went on the least busy weekend of the year and I don't think you need, we didn't need to make reservations at all. But it's like, that's
Yeah, I feel like if you have more than 2 people and you're going anytime that is even gonna have semi crowds, right? So, sure, right now, the 1st or 2nd week of September, you might be okay, get away with it. Most other times, if there's any kind of travel, do yourself a favor, book reservations ahead of time. When you get there, you can change your mind and cancel them, which I do say make sure you cancel them because you will be charged a no-show fee, but make sure you at least have, if you wanna go to Marcus or you wanna go to Shuangba or any of these popular restaurants, make yourself a reservation.
and then let's talk about something interesting. One of the restaurants I made a reservation for closed
Falia?
unexpectedly. Yes, I had a dinner. That was our last night dinner reservation. And like 30 days before we got there, they were like, "Hey, I will." They just sent me through whatever that portal is they use, and they were like, "Your
Yep.
dinner reservation's been canceled." And I was about to go write some scathing email to somebody because we had 9 of us, which, that's not an easy
Yep.
situation to find dinner. But then they sent a follow-up saying they did it. I found a follow-up where they said, "Hey, we unexpectedly, this restaurant has closed. We will help you rebook something," which is really great. I didn't need the help. We found enough space at Katsuya for the next day, but that was not a great feeling or situation. And I think, Jamie, you have a scoop on what's going to replace that restaurant now.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one because I don't feel like we've had a lot of new restaurants there since Marcus, maybe? I may be lying, but I feel like Marcus is, like, the last big one that opened there. So this should be opening, I say any day now. It's slated for fall of this year. It is, called Leola by Scott Conant, if I'm saying that right, Conant. So he is a two-time James Beard award-winning chef. This is gonna be in a kind of a classic Italian cuisine. They're redoing the Folia space, and I thought this was pretty interesting. The space is being designed by Restoration Hardware, and the pictures looks really nice. It's a lot of like kind of rustic looking, dark wood, dark colors, tons of like gold, bronze stuff. So I think it's going to be a really cool spot. Hopefully the food's going to be really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a new restaurant to check out. I know Falia in the past wasn't the most popular, but I enjoyed it. I like Italian food, so I'm hoping this is like a step up from what Falia was.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't really like it, but we were with a lot of people who didn't want to eat seafood. So
Fair.
I was like, which is how Katsuya got crossed off the list, and then we wound up there. And Jamie, are you on the Leola website?
Yeah,
Leola, however
I'm
you
on there
say
right
this.
now.
Okay. When you look at that space, the second picture, is that outdoor? Like, have they moved the entire bar of this restaurant outside?
Yeah,
Or is it
so when I'm looking at that, I've eaten outside a couple times there, and I'm picturing that is where the old outdoor seating was. Just based on the pictures, it looks like they've moved a bar outside.
okay? Because the bar
And it,
used to be up against that wall where the steakhouse was
yeah,
in the old
and there may still
restaurants.
be a bar inside. Like this may be a second bar. I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely looks to be outside.
Actually, I think there are 2 bar because if you look at the top picture, if that's also in the restaurant, that is where the old bar was.
Yep,
Yeah. So interesting. Well, that means they might have less seating, but they don't have an official date yet, right, for this place opening that we've
it's just
seen?
fall of 2025. I feel like it's got to be very soon that they're opening.
Okay. Yeah. The design does look cool. It does seem like they're kind of tying it to that same theme as the jazz club a little bit, the darker style. I'm excited that
Yeah, I
they're
mean, I
doing
like
something
anytime they
new.
open something new there.
All right. Perfect. And then I think I got something else in my notes. And I do have a full property tour of Baha Mar too that I'm going to work on putting out. We just put
Nice.
out our St. Regis Cap kind of one. I wanted to get that kind of ahead of the curve, but hopefully next week or the week after we'll have Baha Mar done. I spent a lot of time this trip in the arcade. So that was a fun experience. So once again, I totaled that up. We dropped a whopping $137 in the arcade,
Whew.
but that was probably like 4 to 5 hours across
Okay,
2 days of unlimited gaming.
that's good.
So
That's not bad then.
it's not that bad, I don't think. Call it, write it up, charge it to the game, and like $30 an hour entertainment for your kid. Now, this was me playing games, my wife playing games, and our daughter playing games. I will say, man, I wonder if I have a picture of it still, but they were offering some pretty aggressive load bonuses when we were there.
That's
So
nice.
I
That can make
think,
it more affordable.
yeah, I think I want to say, I swore I'd taken a picture of it, but I didn't bother to pull it up for this podcast. I don't see it in an obvious picture.
And I will say while you're pulling that up, that seemed to be I mean, my kids are now a little bit older, but my son last time we were there would have been, I guess, 10, daughter would have been 15 probably. And we found ourselves in the arcade. We would go get ice cream at, Sugar, the little candy store, and then pretty much go to the arcade, watch the fountain show. Like that was our post-dinner routine. So we were in the arcade pretty much every evening as well.
Yeah, I don't see I swore I'd taken a picture of it, but I don't see it, so that's my fault, unfortunately. It's probably just in here tucked away and I can't find it. But the what they essentially did is I think we put $75 on the card and they gave us 100% load bonus or
Oh, that's huge.
75% load bonus. Yeah, it was huge. So it definitely made it a lot more friendly. I will say we for some reason the American flight always seems to leave late from the Bahamas, and then they pushed ours late. We booked it, it was 1 o'clock, and by the time the flight came around, it was like 5:30.
Whew.
And so that last day is always rough, and you don't really wanna go into the pool even though you can bathe do everything.
Yeah.
So, we did like 2, 3 hours on the last day as like a good time killer, and then there was another day where it was just like it got too hot, and by like 3 or 4 o'clock, the kids were just like fried. So pre-dinner, we just kind of went and did like a little hour. It's not an overwhelming arcade by any means, but I would say like all the machines are pretty at least well maintained. Everything works. There's a
Yeah.
couple card games, a couple gambling type games, some carnival style games, some gun games. Like there's something for
Yeah.
every age, from skee ball, some basketball. It's good fun, and I will say we came out of that. I think my daughter between that 100 something bucks earned 4,000 tickets, and I mean we got like a decent amount of stuff. You got $5, $10 in
Yeah.
junk back from her, whatever. But I mean, she was super stoked. She got some bouncy
Yeah.
balls, some candy, some few things. So I didn't think it was that bad of an opportunity. One last thing too to talk about. I redid the sanctuary, and I had done the sanctuary last time with my daughter when she was 3, and I really was like she was like a little too young. It's not that it wasn't helpful, but I also think the people that did ours this time, first off, the sanctuary's gotten more expensive, and secondly, I think they have much more of, like, a routine of what they do now. Because I remember, like, last time we did it when my daughter was little, like, they were like, "Here's the touch tanks," and it was like, "Okay," and I was trying to get my daughter's hand in there, but, like, this time, like, they pulled out some of the stuff and, like, they held over the conch shells and made the conch come out, like, it was a lot more fun. They let us feed the turtles lettuce. They gave a good bit of lettuce. You just kinda hung it out, the turtles came. The shark and stingray feeding was really cool because they got everyone over there and they really brought the animals right up to she stood, like, right there on the
Yeah.
wall, like, right into the water, and I think they did a really good job. I might have gotten lucky with who we had this time versus last time, but I think if you're going to do that experience, you wanna do the sanctuary touch tank experience. Is like that's kind of the full one. I think I paid 77 bucks, and you have to pay for adults, which is ridiculous, but that was the price of me and my daughter. My wife just stayed back and watched ice cream. So it's a little more expensive if you wanna, like, go as 2 adults. But I got some cool pictures. My daughter actually, like, held the food to feed the animals. She was really into the animals. Like, the stingrays came up and were, like, flapping water up and stuff. And I'll probably put some of that in the property tour because I shot a bunch of content there as well. And then you can pay to do a tortoise encounter as well. They have, like,
I didn't even know they had tortoises there.
oh, yeah, it's right by well, they moved them. They're like maybe you haven't been because they had moved them from the last
Is it
time
by
I
the
was
in the
there.
water park now?
No, it's when you come down the stairs from the casino, like, where you leave those stairs where Katsuya is and
Yeah.
stuff, when you start heading to Baja Bay, and there's that first sidewalk that goes to the right that
Yep.
heads towards the pools, it's a tortoise habitat in there now. So
Okay.
you can
No,
just see them
I don't think I've
just see
seen
them
that.
all day in there. They used to be over by the Rosewood
Okay.
somewhere.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to check that out.
One of the times I came, they brought them out into that sometimes they'll bring them out into that field and like we fed them and like they did a race to try and get them to leave their circle and things. It was pretty cute. But now they actually have like a formal sanctuary visit where you can go and feed them. I will say every time we walked by there, my daughter had me pick her up so she could look at them and it always smelled like poop there, which is not the most pleasant. And then once some of the kids are older, they do like a marine biologist ordeal. It sounded interesting, but, like, it's the extra price and time, I was like, it's an hour thing, and I was like, "My daughter's not gonna pay attention for an hour,"
Yeah.
you know, so she's 5, and the ages for that's 5 to 17, but I would realistically unless your kid's just a total science nerd, I'd probably maybe push that closer to 10, I think is probably, you know, a realistic number to put on that. I think those were quite some updates, and we're already 30 minutes deep into this
Yeah,
thing.
that's good.
We I don't even know if we really scratched the surface of staying there if you haven't really been there. Let's make a little pivot, Jamie, as some refresher info perhaps. What's your favorite room to book families? I'm gonna assume most people were taking our families here. Like, give me your favorite family room at Baha Mar and SL.
Yeah. So I will say my favorite room. This is the room I stay in every time I go now with my family. I probably stayed in this room 5 or 6 times. It is let me say this right, the 1 bedroom deluxe residence West Tower, ocean view. So what really sets the deluxe residences apart from the regular residences is it's square footage wise, it's much bigger. It comes with a second bathroom and a much bigger like dining and living room area. What I really like about the residence is you get a full kitchen. Not that I'm cooking, but I like having the full refrigerator. I like having the washer and dryer with wet bathing suits. So it's just a really good space. Like you can have your snacks, you can have drinks in there if you want. You can make popcorn if you want to, like, So I really like that. And then on the flip side, the SLS has almost an identical laid out room. And it's their 1 bedroom ocean view residence, which I really like. Again, really good square footage. It's got the kitchen, washer, dryer. It's a room that I really want to check out. Particularly, I mean, I've seen it, I've been in it, I haven't stayed in it yet. SLS was recently renovated, so they finished a full room renovation at the end of 2024. So all these rooms have been renovated within the last 12 months as of this episode. And I think they did a really good job with the decor, the furniture. It's a ton of like wood tones, like earthy wood tones. I just really like the colors. I like the flooring they put down. I like the furniture they used. The color palette's really nice compared to what it was before. It was a lot of like whites and everything before, where I think the new one makes it really, really homey feeling. So right now, I feel like if I had a choice, I would like to check that out. The new SLS 1 bedroom residences.
I think as a note with SLS across the board, I don't know if they've changed who their customer is, or I don't know if society has just moved on or if they have like a new interior design team. It's kind of a love hate for me, I will say a little bit, because I do feel like more and more every single hotel is starting to look the same a little bit. Like everyone's utilizing space really well. Everyone, like, it's almost like so efficient and like everyone is doing the same things where it is, you're almost losing some of the character of properties. But I hated SLS's
I
designs.
didn't like it. I did not like the layouts before, the colors.
I didn't like SLS Baha Mar. I had stayed at SLS Vegas, and I thought they did a hideous job renovating those rooms. I didn't really like SLS Beverly Hills. And looking at some of the other SLS properties now they've opened, like I really like the interior SLS Barcelona, SLS in Mexico, Plaza Mujeres, I think is where it is. So they really have turned their direction around. And I agree. The nice thing about the SLS look now is it's very much like a very, almost want to call it like a high end Airbnb, which I don't mean
Yeah, I
it in
can see
that way,
that.
but like it has this very homey feel, but it's also like very hotel-y in a very good way. Like it doesn't feel, I don't know, like like at the SLS Baha Mar, that room you're talking about, they do like big, I think it's porcelain tile almost that they have slatted everywhere. And then they put like rugs over the couch areas
Yep.
and things like it is a cool style. So I think that is a good point. And I like it how it looks. And I haven't stayed in that room either. So I'm just going from visual, but visually I like the look of it a lot better than I do the Baha Mar rooms.
Yeah, I feel like the Hyatt it's probably due for a refresh, right? I mean, we're going on 8 years since it opened, right? 2017, I think.
Yeah.
And I know they've been replacing some furniture, but not like a across the board refresh where SLS just did a across the board. Every room has new furniture. Every room is new paint job, new everything. So I think Hyatt, hopefully, I have not heard anything, but I would hope in the next year or so we start to see some refreshes across the board.
They've gotta be close, I would think, because I think even looking at from personally, like, every time I go, the rooms feel they get a lot of use, right? I think is just
Yep.
kindly how to put it. Like, it feels a little more it doesn't feel like maybe it even does a little bit. I was gonna say it doesn't really feel like dirty, but it even kinda does. Like, everything's just, like, extra wear on it, and you're just it is to and you're right, I do notice they replace some items, but there's usually things where I'm like, "Ooh, this really should be on a checklist to, like,
Yep. So I
hit
know
the
my
road."
last day, which was last Labor Day, right? So Labor Day 2024, we stayed in the, one bedroom ocean view residence, and
Okay.
I could tell the couch had been replaced because it was slightly different than the couches that had been there previously. While we were there, they replaced all of our like I don't what do you call it, balcony furniture. So
Okay.
all the balcony furniture was replaced while we were there. So you could tell like they're doing updates, but not just like a broad like, hey, we're going to redo this whole room. It's kind of like as needed. We're updating.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good point, like, even my bedside chair was different than the ones we used to have in that tower. So you're right, I do think they are trying, but I also, at some point, think they just need to really completely refresh.
Yeah.
Maybe not the residence rooms as much as some of the more base rooms. Like, the rooms with the tub, the open tub, I don't like that layout room. I forget which one that is versus the other. That's
Yeah, I think
East
it's like East
Towers, right?
Tower. Yep.
Yeah. Those are definitely some of my least favorite options, but here nor there.
And I think it's a shift, right? And I think this is why SLS is shifting as well. You think about when Baha Mar first opened, 2017, right? I went
Mhm.
literally the month after they opened, and it was I would say almost 100% adult focus. So the first 2 or 3 trips I took to Baha Mar, it was just my wife and I. We left the kids home. There was no water park. I mean, there really wasn't outside of that jumping rock and the pools. There wasn't like a ton of kid focus or kid activities. There was no arcade. There was no, you know, to me, it was an adult property. It felt like going to Vegas. You had the casino, you had the jazz club at night. We went and, it was just an adult trip. Once they opened the water park, it was a game changer. Now it becomes a family destination where I can't leave the kids home, right? If I was like, hey, I'm going to Baha Mar, probably same with you, your kids would be like,
Uh,
not without me, you're not.
which is funny you say that too because I went on a bachelor party, a long time ago. I guess my daughter was still pretty little. She had been, but she was like 2.
Yep.
If I told my daughter that I was leaving to go to Baha Mar, I don't think she would speak to me for a year.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like her favorite place.
Yep.
So that is a good point. Because
And I say
even
that
I
to
will
say, like, the renovations kind of reflect that, right? You think about SLS used to have like that open bathroom kind of modern
Mhm.
concept where now it's like, hey, it's family staying here. Now we got to close the bathroom off. We got to do these things. So I think that's reflected in the original design versus what they're doing now.
Yeah, I guess that is a fair point. Even from my first time going, which I went way after you did, it seems to progressively become more and more there's more and more families and kids every time we go, for sure.
Yep.
Because I would say a couple years ago, I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I would totally go there by myself." And we did. We had a bachelor party there. It
Yep.
was a lot of fun, but, like, every year, it's, like, turning more and more into a family property
Yep.
for, I guess, better or worse, depending on your
Yeah,
perspective.
exactly.
Depending on your perspective there. And then, so you talked about those 2 rooms. Are those generally priced competitively? Does it just depend on promos and things? Like,
Yeah,
which
really.
is that kinda how you pick?
Yeah, I think they fall similar price range. It really, like you said, it depends on promos, right? So, Hyatt may be running a 25% off or 20% off. SLS will regularly run like a fourth night free. So depending on what's going on at the time, one may sway over the other. I just really like the space. So I think SLS and Hyatt now can really be looked at almost interchangeably. Where
Okay.
before the renovation, and I would mostly say like, hey, SLS really geared more towards like a younger vibe, not as family friendly. I think since they renovated the rooms, just in general, I feel like it's become a much more family friendly option. And I've booked a lot more families there than I had in the past.
Okay. That's good to know. They do still have, like, the Sky Bar. I think their pool gets a
Yep.
little rowdy at times, but, I mean, you can just go everywhere else.
Yeah, you still have full access to everything. And then SLS, right? They have the two pools. They have the SLS pool, and then I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but like where they have the day club
Which if you have kids,
privilege pool,
you won't want
maybe.
to be there. Yeah. I mean, for perspective, when we were at the privilege pool, I think 2 Chains was performing,
Yep.
and it was loud and smelled of substances at times when we would walk by. So I think you have no fear of being there with your kids, but you're going to hear it just as much from the Baha Mar side as the
Yep. Yeah.
SL side.
When we were there, not last Labor Day, but maybe 2 Labor Days ago, Bruno Mars was there performing. And we happened to be up on our balcony, and I'm not complaining. I actually enjoyed it. You could hear Bruno Mars down there performing. So we got like a free concert that you could kind of see a little bit. So that was kind of cool.
Hopefully they didn't let him in the casino after.
Oh, man. So some of the people we were with actually met him at Marcus. They were in the back private room while we were there.
Uh-huh.
And one of the girls that were with us like wrote a note like, "Hey, I'm a huge fan," and like sent it with the waiter. And the waiter's like, "Yeah, you can come in and take a picture and meet me." So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Let's talk 4th of July. Now, if you're not going to be here for 4th of July, I think this information would also apply for Bohemian Independence Day, which is a week after our 4th of July. And they also do fireworks for New Year's. I think those might be their only fireworks shows. But
Big weddings.
okay, big weddings. Well, whew, I can't imagine that kind of budget. But now they do the fireworks show behind where the water show is. So it's actually going to be on the, what do they call those rooms on that side? The non-oceanfront side. Is that Lagoon View? Is that
The Fountain View.
Fountain View? There you go. I was like, what's the fancy way of calling a parking lot view? Fountain View. I'm going to say, I think the fountain show is one of the most underrated things in Baha Mar that I don't hear people talk about. But if you never go out there, it's a really well done water show, especially when it gets into the evening. They integrate all the lights. It's all to music. It is really fun. If you have kids, you've never gone out there, go for a walk out past. Maybe not on the sugar factory side, so they try and swindle candy out of you. But if you find yourself in that area, or if you end up eating dinner at Pizza Lab, you can just walk right out there. And I think that's a fun little feature. So they do the fireworks back there. I actually don't like the oceanfront rooms there as much. I think it's louder. First off, you're, I don't know, a mile from the beach, from the ocean. So like, yes, you can see the ocean in a distant view, but I mean, you're really just getting the pool views. I like the lagoon side. I think it's quieter and you can watch the water show. So I still think it's pretty. That's just an opinion of mine. It's not like, I wouldn't be upset if I was in an oceanfront room, but I asked for the fountain view.
Interesting.
And we had an incredible, I'll make sure if you're on YouTube or Spotify or somewhere with video, I'll put up some pictures of my daughter watching the show. But like literally from our room, we had this incredible view of the fireworks show. Like just opened our blinds and it was just, you could
That's a
see
good tip.
everything right there. It's a great tip. Now, I had some friends that were on the ocean side who could not see, and I told them to come to our room. And on the way to our room, they got to the elevator bank and they said no one was there and they had an incredible view. So if you actually don't have a friend on this side or you're looking, just run over to the elevator bank. And he was like, I think they were on the 23rd floor and he was like, dude, it was incredible.
That's
Like
a
we
good.
just stood he didn't even bother coming to our room. So I think that's super helpful if you're dealing with a firework situation there. Personally, I don't think I would much rather have the great in-room view for the fireworks and not have the oceanfront view there. Now, if it's a situation where you're like on the ocean somewhere, I'd much rather take the ocean view, but I'm like, you're kind of far enough away that I don't think you're missing as much. But that's me personally, here nor there. I know Jamie loves the ocean view there,
I like the
so
ocean view.
have my contrarian view. The other thing too is most of these holidays, try and look at the schedule because they will do a lot of fun. They actually did like a Bohemian parade where the girls wore all those costumes that you see sometimes on display at the hotel. And they had like drums. And then it's almost like they did it last time we were there. And I don't remember what holiday or reason they did it for the last time we were there, but they bring out, and it's gotten better every time we've come. They essentially set up a parade in that big grass area right in front of like the Rosewood, between the Rosewood and Baha Mar. But I mean, they had snow cone machines, popcorn machines. They had a bunch of free arcade games. They had these cool, it was like think about when we were little kids, you had those like little BB looking gun things that had the laser that hit the target. They had like a modern version of those that was like, but it was like computer generated, but then you could see your laser on the
Okay, that's cool.
screen, and like you like went into this little tent and did it. And they had they have like the big hammer hit the bell games. They had a lot of fun stuff. And they've got a couple bounce houses that have always changed. And I mean, you get free snacks. So, popcorn, snow cones, fill your kid up on some free snacks. They have water and a few things as well. And then, but I mean, it's a great way to kill like an hour or two in the middle of the day. And then you're next to, especially if you're already like swimming at Dean's Blue Hole, which is probably my favorite pool to hang out at if I'm going to hang out at a pool. It's literally like a 30-second walk to
Yeah,
where everything's
that's
going
nice.
on. Dean's Blue Hole is one place that it is kind of hard to find seating at the pool. I've never not found seating, but I find that to be the hardest place to find seating all around Baha Mar.
Well, and I'm going to share a grump. I would
Okay,
agree.
hit me.
I hate that this has perpetuated itself at Baha Mar in general, right? So we talked about dining reservations. When I first started going, you didn't need them. But then once everyone started needing dining reservations, like you basically have to book something.
Mhm.
Similarly with chairs, particularly Dean's Blue Hole, right? People go down there so early in the morning and grab chairs. That is a huge pet peeve of mine. I don't think they do a great job of enforcing and like going around and removing people's crap, which I'm sorry, like I'm not getting up at 6 in the morning, even if I'm awake. Like I'm not going to go put my stuff down there. I'm not that person. That drives me crazy. But because of that, they now also rent the chairs
Yes.
around Dean's Blue Hole, right? They've made these premium chairs that had been free forever. And I don't think they're expensive, but you're paying for them, right? So $25, $35, something like that, maybe, which is nice that you can reserve them and don't have to worry about it. But I also, on the flip side, hate that now you feel like you're nickeled and dimed just to get essentially regular chairs at the pool, which I don't love that. That's like my one complaint that I've had over the last couple of years. Like that drives me crazy.
I think it is a valid complaint. I also think if you're not gonna spend all day there, just bring your stuff to Dean's Blue Hole and
Yep.
just leave your pool bag in the corner and shoes. There were a lot of people that did that too and just enjoy
That's what
the
we'll do. We'll either leave in the corner or if you can find a single chair, just dump all your stuff on a single
Yep.
chair. You can always find chairs at the, in the water park, I feel like by the wave pool. If you want a place to like post up and lay down and lounge in the sun, that's my recommendation. And then if you're going to Dean's Blue Hole, just find a little spot to dump your stuff.
Yeah, and you can generally always find seats in the kids areas too at Baja Bay. I've never had a problem at Baja Bay finding a chair
Yeah,
where I
same.
was. This 4th of July was the busiest a wave pool I think had ever been, but it's still very empty comparatively.
Well, and I will add this. The one thing I like about finding chairs and stuff at Baja Bay in particular is they have a set opening time. So people
Mhm.
cannot go down there at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 in the morning and grab premium spots. I don't know. I may make this time up. I feel like it opens at like 10, 10:30 in the
Yep,
morning, something like that.
10 AM.
So if you go down and have breakfast at not a late breakfast, but if you go down and eat breakfast at 9 or 9:30, you're generally getting to Baja Bay right after it opens. So it's not super busy yet. I've always found great chairs, great seats. So you don't have to worry about someone, you know, waking up with the sun and, grabbing 20 chairs.
On this trip, we generally weren't even getting there till about 12
Whew.
most days, and, we didn't really have an issue. Well, it was
Yeah.
hot, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to hot. We had 3 little kids who weren't gonna leave once we got there, so our solution was to get there later. Here's an interesting one too, Jamie, we can just talk about. I know we didn't talk about it in this old episode because I had never done it before. One of the friends I went with is a big tennis guy, so I went and played at the tennis club. 10 of 10 would recommend. He paid for the courts, so I don't know what they cost.
I will say it's not expensive. It's like
Okay.
$35 or something. We rent one every time we go.
We paid a premium and played on clay, which was a lot of
Ooh.
fun, I will say. I think that clay premium also was not that bad compared. There's some pickleball courts over there as well, but I really liked everything going on over in that tennis club. It's a nice little area, a nice little addition, just something new that I hadn't actually done since I had been there.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. And like you said, it's not super expensive. They've added more pickleball courts. Obviously, pickleball is super popular. So they used to have grass courts there. They took out their grass courts and added more pickleball. So
Pickleball.
I think they now have 6 pickleball courts maybe.
Wow.
And as of last year, it is now like the John McEnroe Tennis Center. So it used to just be like the Baha Mar Tennis Center. I don't know what the agreement was, but it's now the John McEnroe like tennis center.
Wow. I feel so disrespectful not putting his name on it over here. I feel like we've covered a lot. I think I'll give a few tips, which, man, if you are a Coke Zero drinker, you will not have a good time here at Baha Mar, which
And
is
I am
unfortunate because everybody knows Coke Zero is better than Diet Coke.
big
The
time.
one place I found Coke Zero was Cafe Madeline, and I don't know if they just accidentally got a six-pack while I was there. That was the only place I saw it. So then I started going back because we were in the West Tower. I'd be like, "Oh, I'll just go grab a Coke Zero." Once I and the few people have purchased the 6 or 7 Coke Zeros in that cooler, they never were replenished for the whole trip. So
Must have been
that
a
was a
missed
little
delivery.
disappointing. But I mean, if you are desperate for a Coke Zero, check Cafe Madeline. Hopefully someone is not over ordering while you're there. The Starbucks lines were not as bad as I remembered too, so I think these extra breakfast options have helped. I did do Cafe Madeline for breakfast one day just as a change up one to see the buffet did something else. It was painfully slow. I didn't even know if it was really worth it. My daughter really liked they had this like brick French toast, but I forget what I got, but I was mostly excited about the Coke Zero, I will say. The Cafe Madeline during the day is a good place to get ice cream.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, I think is something. Yeah, there's the place all the way down by Baja Bay, but like if you're not outside way down there, I
Yep.
found the Cafe Madeline gelato or ice cream, whatever they called it, was a great pick. Coke Zero.
This is a
I think that might
random
okay,
tidbit.
hit me.
This is not one that I'm advocating for. This question comes up from time to time. We say it's a cashless property.
Yes.
I saw a post recently that mentioned 3 or 4 places that people were actually able to pay cash for, which I thought was
Okay.
kind of interesting. Starbucks being one of them, I believe they took cash. Swimming Pig took cash, which that kind of surprised me, and like one other place. So your mileage may vary, but I thought that was an interesting, I've always said they don't take cash anywhere, like other than the casino and tips, like don't worry about cash. But yeah, someone just came back and they're like, hey, I was able to pay cash at these couple places. I don't know
I
why you would want to, but
I think my theory is some employees going void.
yep, 100%.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we'll take $200 for dinner.
Yep.
Oh void. Food was soiled. Whatever. I don't want to disparage employees of Baha Mar, but that's probably what I would be up to if I was there. So maybe that says more about me than them. While I'm on Cafe Madeline, I will say we ended up going there for lunch one day, and I liked lunch a lot more than breakfast. It's something to consider or think about. I also think my favorite part about Cafe Madeline is they have a really big outdoor space to
They
eat
do.
at. I don't know if it was just when I was there though. The breakfast crowd was chaotic and it was kind of expensive. Like me and my daughter ate for what you would be at for the buffet. And I'm a real big anti-buffet guy, but I kinda like the Baha Mar buffet, like, it has enough options and enough stuff that I really don't get tired of eating there. There's tons of great fruit options every day. I don't know, I just kinda like that buffet, so
I do as well. I like that they have a lot of lunch type foods as well.
mhm.
I don't know about you, like you talk about going kind of later, but like a lot of times we'll do like a later breakfast and I'm good usually with maybe a light snack during the day and then dinner. So you could get, I mean, they have like a section that has like dumplings and fried rice, and then they've got like a section with like tacos and I mean, like tons of like lunch type options, which I really enjoy.
Their Mexican food section is really good
Yep.
for being in the Bahamas, so I do think that is a good point as well. Other than that, I didn't do any new restaurants on this trip, mostly because 'cause I've been to them all. Nothing really disappointed me. I feel like consistently most places stayed the same. Trying to just think of anything else I can really get my head around. Oh, we should talk about tipping. That is
Okay.
something that comes up in these Facebook groups a lot. So Jamie, I'm going to ask you, and then I'll confess myself after you answer. So everywhere you go, I think anything you do, breathing actually at Baha Mar comes with a 15% mandatory gratuity.
Is it 15 or 18 now? I
18
feel like
maybe? That's even
it may
worse.
be
I
18.
just block it out of my brain. Anyway, there is a mandatory gratuity. I don't know if they call it gratuity, whatever they label it as, service charge,
Yep.
whatever spin they put on it, on everything you're doing. I think even at maybe not at Starbucks, but I think everywhere outside of Starbucks, I see that. Are you tipping on top of that? Are you tipping 20% on top of that? Are you not
I
tipping at all on top of that? What is your play?
so I'm typically tipping on top of that. I will normally do like another 5% or so. Now, obviously, if great service, I'll go a little bit more, but I'm not doing 20% on top of that. That does like, and I know you and I talk about this a lot. According to Baha Mar, that all goes to staff, right? So that's not like Baha Mar is not keeping any of it. Now, how it gets distributed, I don't know. I don't think your server's necessarily getting 100% of that. They're probably getting a portion of it, where additional tips supposed to go directly to your server. So if you have a good server, I would definitely recommend tipping on top because they're going to get that money. You can also tip in cash. I think that's always appreciated as well. But yeah, I normally do tip
Okay.
on top of that.
I'm becoming less and less likely to do so. I'm not gonna lie. I think just it's not even a Baha Mar thing, but I think I have such tipping fatigue in so many places, and it's like, listen, if you're already just gonna take 18%, let's just call this transaction signed and sealed. Generally, how about this? On this trip, I think we had one or two circumstances where I was like, this server did really good, and I think um, at one restaurant, we added actually a lot of extra tip, but there was a circumstance where someone in our party was friends with the chef. It was like their cousin's brother. I don't know, whatever. So they like came out, they brought us like a free appetizer and did some things. So I felt compelled to like
Yeah, that's fair.
tip extra in that case. And I think at Schwing Ba, we had a really good server and they, we did the table side duck
The
and
duck,
things. So I
yeah.
felt like, okay. But like at Pizza Lab, I'm not tipping extra.
No, and I will say, I feel like I get it, right? If you have a bunch of like international that don't have tipping culture, it ensures that tips are getting provided. But on the flip side, I feel like, and this is not a Baha Mar statement, this is a general, like across the
Hmm.
board statement. Once you include like mandatory gratuity, there's not a lot of incentive for that server to provide excellent service in order to earn a good tip. If you're like, hey, I'm getting 18%, whether I'm good or bad, like you're not going above and beyond.
I agree. And there are a lot of people who complain in the Facebook groups, and not even just the Baha Mar one, the Atlantis one. I think in Caribbean hotels in general. I think as long as you dial down your expectations to be like on Caribbean time, I generally find no one is that. There's not a lot of sense of urgency, but I also don't think anyone is a bad server. Like I've never really gotten orders wrong. I've never had someone forget to do something. So I go back and forth there. But yeah, the mandatory gratuity thing is kind of gross. Interesting, like total side note, not related to this at all. I was talking to my friend's kid I say kid, who's like 22, 21. He works at a restaurant. Check out how crazy of a situation this is. Maybe this is common now. Someone can tell us in the comments or anything. He works at a restaurant where they pay him $14 an hour flat. Okay. However, he gets no tip money.
Even if
So
people leave
like,
it,
yep. So
that
like
sounds illegal.
let's say someone was like, here's a $200 tip. Well, they say it's not because they say it's guaranteed. He's guaranteed $14 an hour. So then, they're like, well, if you're not making it, right? Like if it's a slow day, you're still
Yeah, I
getting
don't like,
14. And I'm like, but then I'm like, but see, I take issue with that because I'm like, well, that's kind of gross because if I feel like he does really well and I'm tipping him, he's not even getting
yeah, that's crazy.
the the
I'm claiming
money.
that's got to be illegal.
I don't think it is. And then, well, I don't know a lot of I don't know a lot of 20-year-olds these days as a 40-year-old. And I used to work in a restaurant and we made whatever the server federal minimum is like $2.15 an hour. And then you just made your tips. And then if you didn't make minimum wage over the aggregate of your day, they would fund you in.
Yeah,
But I'm like, I think tipping culture has already jumped the shark. But I'm like, if we're going to get to the point where I'm tipping people and they're not actually even getting the money, like that's turning into a
that's
gross
crazy.
situation really quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, I think we need like all of this money goes to the stat. Like, I think we're going to get to a point soon where like, I think where this money goes and how it goes somewhere, I think needs to be clear because I think it's going to make me less incentivized to tips if I'm starting to think that these people aren't even getting the money.
100%. Yeah. If you told me that, I'm not leaving anything.
Yeah. Or like I'm gonna, I of course never have cash on me. I don't have a wallet anymore. But like I would much rather just leave $5
Yes.
on the table and hope for the best than but I'm curious, is that common? Like, and then I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but we could even just pivot to this. Like the St. Regis Chicago, people are reporting this week is
Oh, yeah.
charging
This
a
is wild.
3.5% inflation fee. And I'm like, what is
Inflation means the
happening?
price goes up. Just raise your prices. Call it what it is. Price.
Yeah, we're gonna get to a point where like you're gonna have to just they're gonna have to like pass laws. I feel like to be like you must publish the price of your good
Yeah. That's crazy.
with all mandatory fees for restaurants. I think the struggle I have with it, and maybe I'm off base, I don't think anyone is price shopping a restaurant, right? Like you
Yeah.
taking that 3% fee versus just adding 30 cents to your fries. No one's going, oh, listen,
Oh,
honey,
100%.
we can't go to this restaurant. Their fries are $3.99. In this restaurant, they're $3.59. Like,
I'd
come
be
on.
more turned off by I'd be like, "Hey, I'm not going to this restaurant because they're just adding a 3% fee and it's a bad look."
I
And
agree.
to me, it's nothing to do with the price.
I agree. Anytime you're getting unexpected fees, or I don't even like in Europe, they do that whole seating fee. Even that kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Where it's like the seating fee where it's like they give you free bread and silverware and then charge you €4 for every person at your table. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
basically mandatory tip,
Yep.
but we've really gone on to soapbox land over here.
Yeah, we a whole short on tipping culture.
Yeah, and I will say if you are planning to go to Baha Mar, we did a lot more coverage of, like, things to do at Baja Bay. We did a lot of coverage on, like we really broke down restaurants too in episode 1. I'll link it in the show notes so you don't have to go find it, but if you're like I would say listen to both podcasts or do the property tour, and I think between that, you probably have enough information to book,
Yeah.
but travelbrospod.com/book with us. We can help you book and make your dreams come true. I have to imagine between me and Jamie, we're the travel agents that have been to this property the most. I don't know if there's a way to track that or pretty official, but we've got to be up there. And I would say we probably book more people than most as well. So I think
Yeah, I would
of
agree.
anywhere in the world you want to book with us, I think this is where you're in elite hands. Sometimes
Yeah,
I don't know.
I consider myself an expert. There's not a lot of places that I would say, "Hey, I'm an expert. I know it in and out." This is one that I feel like I know it in and out.
Yeah, same here. Perfect. Well, guys, appreciate you coming along the journey with that's a wrap. 42 episodes. We already had to
Crazy.
revisit a hotel, but it's okay. It's a special one here.
This is a special one.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks. Hope
See
it
you next
helped.
week.
Appreciate it. Bye.